Thank you for all coming tonight. Who am I? Well, my name is Jake Campus. I am a professional bodybuilder. I have a Master's in Nutrition. I own one of New Zealand's largest nutrition companies, Jake Campus Nutrition. And I'm also a New Zealand record holder for pro wins in the USA and Olympian. I also am one of the pioneer owners of the Flex Fitness gym chain. I'm proudly born in Hamilton and raised and educated, and I was actually one of the first test tube babies ever in the Waikato. So if anyone knows my dad, just let me know. I grew up in a single mother household, obviously, with my beautiful two sisters. We currently live still in Hamilton. I live with my wife Jess and my two Pomeranians, Oreo and Cookie, and we've all travelled the world together, apart from the dogs, obviously. Next slide, please. So, as an athlete and an entrepreneur, I've definitely had my fair share of failures. While writing this, I had to question myself, what does failure mean to me? Now, I see it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Failure to me is one of the best educators. Now, I still have those 12 hours when something goes wrong, where the bottom lip hangs out and, I'm very disappointed, but I try to immediately grow from that experience and learn more about where I can improve. And that's what's allowed me to achieve quite a lot, is not letting those failures weigh me down, using them as a learning experience to move forward. Now, I've failed more times than I'd like to admit, but failure is life's greatest teacher. No one who has been truly successful has never not failed. So if you haven't really failed, have you even tried hard enough? Now you think about a baby learning to walk. It fails many, many, many times to try and get to that first step, but it doesn't give up. Now as adults, we need to remember that mentality. There may be many times that you fall, get up, but those experiences are the ones that callous you strong in your mind to make that next strong step. Now growing up, sorry about the gore if you don't like blood, growing up I wanted to make the most out of my life. I went to Fraser High School. I was bullied for being 6'2" and 60 kilos. They called me coat hanger because of my wide shoulders and small head, but that's all right. I stalked the maths teacher. He used to go to the gym, and I begged him to let me go to the gym with him. So at 6 a.m. every morning, I'd bike to school, I'd get in the gym, I'd go do my paper run after school and spend that money on unflavoured protein powder off my friend's mum. I'd then mix that with Milo to give it some sort of flavour, unknowing of all the sugar, but it was, for me, it was the way to get to the goal that I wanted. And I used every tool that I could in my toolbox to get there. Now, once I moved to university, I was on a budget, so all I would get was my student allowance, and I'd go buy potatoes, rice, and mince, and that's what I would live off, and I'd just train as much as I could in between going to all my university classes. Now, I befriended the nutrition lecturer. I picked her brain as much as I could. I used every ounce of her information to become the man that I am today. And she was great, she loved it, I was the only person hanging around after class and visiting her at her office to get tips for me to be bigger and stronger. So not in a dodgy way, of course. Sorry, Andrea, if you're listening. After a few years, I was still continuing to lift weights. I began boxing as a sport that I wanted to continue, and then boom, out of nowhere, broke my hand. So I was boxing for Waikato at that point in time. I was doing relatively well. So I got on the mend from that hand injury, went back, snapped my ankle. So by that point in time, I still had a hand cast on and still had a leg cast on. So I was, unilaterally disabled on one side pretty much. So I decided to throw in the towel in boxing. And now I look back at that experience and I didn't really want it as hard as I wanted to lift weights. I gave up on boxing, but I continued to lift weights. I had friends drive me to the gym and put the weights on the weights machine for me when I was on a crutch so I could still go, and then they would drive me home. I made every opportunity to get to the gym, whereas with boxing, I failed at it, I threw in the towel. I didn't want it enough. Now, the wonderful, glamorous, mysterious world of bodybuilding then became my one passion. Move forward, I'm lifting lots of weights, trying to build my body, eating. Next thing happens, knees go. Physio tells me there's no chance that you'll ever squat again. You will trouble to build your legs up. That was a huge failure for a bodybuilder. Obviously, 50% of your body is on your lower body. So I decided, I went to 3 different physios until I found one physio, John Apple, a US citizen here now in NZ, and he told me we can work through this. Now 10 years later, I can squat pain-free. I can use my legs pain-free. Everyone before that gave up. They said, give it up. Don't even worry about it. You need to find something else to do with your time. So I continued to train. I continued to be the very best that I could. My dream was to get to the Mr. Olympia stage, made famous by Arnold Schwarzenegger. My goal was in the men's physique division, so that's not as big as some of the bodybuilders you might see. That's more of a sports fitness sort of look. So I was on the cusp of becoming a professional, and that would open up the door to compete at this Mr. Olympia competition. Then this happened. I suffered a major head injury 4 weeks out from my pro qualifying show. I lost 2 litres of blood. I refused a blood transfusion. They needed to perform emergency surgery, but I knew my body didn't react well to anaesthetic. I refused anaesthetic. I did the surgery. They did the surgery on my ear, opened it up, took it off, did what they needed to do to the blood vessel, put my ear back on. I was awake the whole time. I chose my goal over that window of time, and it was not nice, but for me that was the sacrifice I knew I had to make. And I didn't even put any of this on social media at the time because I didn't want to be looked at as the victim on stage. I wanted to earn my pro card fair and square, which I did 4 weeks later after this happened. I turned professional in 2014. 11 months later, I was standing on the Olympia stage. I have the highest record for USA international victories, second place finishes, which qualified me for one of only 2 men ever at the time to do the Mr. Olympia contest. As a rookie, I was the first ever male to make it. What I learned from the failures of the knee calloused my mind, made me stronger to then go through and get strong to push through this injury, to then go through and persevere and follow my dream for a year of training, staying at 3% body fat to get to the Mr. Olympia competition. All those failures led to my mental toughness getting even better and even better and even better. I became so mentally strong that nothing could waver me. And that's what I feel failure does, is it gives you a next level of mental toughness, calluses the mind. Now, slide 4. Sorry, if we can just go back one slide. So on the right-hand side, that picture, the 2 medals around my neck, one is the Mr. Olympia medal, the other one is the second place finish at Dallas, Texas. The glass trophy is the Colorado Pro Show, and the wooden plaque is the Phoenix Pro Show. I did those shows all within that 11-month period. That was flying back and forth to New Zealand as well. Okay, so slide 4. So my passion obviously wasn't boxing, because when the going got tough, I threw it in. And then with bodybuilding, I went all in. Any challenge that came, I wouldn't let it slow me down. So that really drove me as an athlete. But I'm also, while all this was happening, an entrepreneur. At 22 years old, Gary Mallett of Les Mills Hamilton at the time took me under his wing, taught me how to be his operations manager. I ran a team of trainers at Les Mills at 22 years old. 18 months later, I decided I've saved up enough money, I'm going to open a supplement store. At 23, no business experience, fresh out of university, opened a supplement store. This was before online retailers just ruined the market. Approached 1 year into my supplement business with my friend, I was approached by a man. He said, come run this gym for me. I'm going to open it. It's going to call Flex Fitness. I'll let you manage it. I said, how about this? How about you let me set up a supplement store in your gym, and in 6 months you let me buy 50%? And he goes, deal. Within 3 months, I had 50 members signed up before the doors even opened, and I was a 50% shareholder. From there, I knew that I wanted to grow my nutrition business because I'm a qualified nutritionist. So that became my job, speaking to all the gym members, making them nutrition clients, helping them with their health and fitness goals, all while running this gym and supplement store all in one. By 24, I had a second gym over at Mount Maunganui. So I was driving around the country running these 2 gyms, my nutrition stores. I also then started to manufacture my own range of protein supplements. Remember, 24 years old. I was 24, I was married at a very young age, and I was also divorced 11 months later. Well, separated then divorced 11 months later. On paper, I was very successful. Anyone looking from the outside in would think this guy's got it going on. But I was internally a failure. I was not looking after myself. I barely slept. I was internally looking always for the next venture. I was never satisfied with what I had. I was always, what's the next goal? What's the next goal? And that left me in a very mentally uneasy place. I could never appreciate the present. I lost a lot of personal relationships because I was so busy focusing on businesses and bodybuilding goals that I didn't have the time to sit down with friends and family. At the time, a friend, who is now my wife, spoke with me about what did I really want from life? What was my passions? And when I looked at it, the bodybuilding and helping people with their health and fitness goals, so nutrition, was my true passions. I ended up selling the gyms. I ended up getting rid of the supplement companies and the protein, and I focused on those 2 areas. I look back and I was a failure. I was a jack of all trades, but I was a master of none. I was trying to do too many things that I couldn't put all my energy, all that energy that I had floating around up here, I was trying to spread it too thinly. Then when I focused on, hey, I want to be a really good nutritionist and build that company, and I want to be a really good athlete, but I don't want to do it at the cost of my friends and my family, then I became the person that I wanted to become. So from failure, it taught me what was I passionate about and what did I want to achieve in my life? What was the most important to me? So with that last little slide here, so we'll go to the next one. So once you find your passion, you'll find where to put your focus. But you won't know your passion until you probably fail a couple of times at things and realize you don't actually want to pick them back up again. And that's okay. It's okay to do something and think it's the right path and then realize, hey, actually that's not what I want to do, because you might get joy from something else. So those are good things to learn and fail, because it will teach you what you're really truly passionate about. And it's that thing that you really want to do, that whatever happens, you still go back to it. Now, I'm sure we've all done it. I know I have. You play the victim. Something bad goes on. Why me? Why is life doing this to me? I've had such a bad run. You know, all of these things start floating around in your head. Well, if you fail, if you have failures, don't play the victim. Change is up to you. What I realized was when I wanted to make a change, I put into place actions to make that change. And it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have to, for me, I work backwards from the end goal. The goal was to be happy, and then I had to figure out what were the things that were stressing me out, making me unhappy, what was making me time poor. And then I worked my way away from those things and lined up the things that were important to me. So once you find your passion, once you stop playing the victim, you can start to change your life. And it's going to be a multiple steps to change your life. It's not going to be just doing one thing for 12 weeks. You know, and that's what frustrates me about the health and fitness industry is, you know, people advertise an 8-week or a 12-week challenge. Well, unfortunately, to change your life, there may be more steps required than those 8 or 12 weeks. And if you can only give attention for 8 or 12 weeks, do you really want it that bad? I say no, you don't, because anyone can do anything for 3 months. To change your life, you have to put into action many positive things. So today, I live a very blessed life. I have a beautiful wife. I have a nutrition company with 8 staff, one of the largest in New Zealand. We help people all around the world, from your busy mum through to your elite level athlete. I love what I do daily. I love that I get to come to events and see people who want to improve their lives and better their lives. So failure to me has taught me to grow and learn from these things, and to also share information with others so that they can make those changes in their life too. Thank you.